even though it's not on team or during team, it's our teammates, and so we need to get involved in that and address the situation to the extent that we can and eliminate that kind of behavior. Concussions, we do have a concussion protocol in line, and I think someone's gonna get into injury reporting and so on in just a second. Yes?
Yeah, and just a quick
Okay.
point of reference, everybody. We're really just touching on really key areas tonight. So you can see some of the big picture and all the really important bullet issues. But when you get into orientation and meetings in your team, in your subgroups within your team, that's when you're going to delve much deeper into, operational issues in depth with policy and procedure.
I think what I hear time and time again is the impact we, as a collective organization, have on our kids, especially when they move on, whether it's continuing in skiing or into other careers. I hear that time and time again. I'm sure you all do too. I think that's perhaps one of our greatest, the greatest assets that we bring to having kids involved in our program. And that comes from our leadership. It comes from all of you. So setting a good example, being an ambassador, I want to spend a little bit of time on this. Being an ambassador on the mountain and on the trails is critical. We have amongst coaches and athletes 600 to 700 potential good or bad ambassadors for this community. That is powerful. And we want everyone, coaches, staff, and the athletes to be great ambassadors, to be welcoming to guests, to residents alike. Again, whether that's on the cross-country trails or on the mountain. We haven't historically had a few more issues on the mountain than on the trails. I'm focusing more on that. One of the things Linda didn't mention, but that we will be doing this year, is every week I will be meeting with Linda. She will be reporting the good and the bad, pluses and minuses. We're looking for good behavior to reward good behavior. We're looking for behavior that's not good and addressing that so that we can fix the problems. I would hope that there wouldn't be any bad behavior by the coaches. You are the role models. What does that mean? That means thanking the lift operators. It means thanking the ski patrol. It means making sure your kids are going through the ticket lines, and if the ticket checkers asks them for tickets, they have them, their passes, they have them out ready to go. And there's not a fight put up about that. It's reducing conflict with guests and helping guests or anyone else that, any other skiers that may have fallen that need help. That can go a long way toward building our brand and our reputation within the community. So Linda and Bryant, as well as a few others, we will be meeting weekly. I will be reporting basically a score every week throughout the season. We'll be taking all of the good things that have been reported and all of the bad things and summing those up. A +1 for good, a -1 for bad, and I'm hoping that we see that number increase over time. That will be communicated to all of you in terms of how we're doing, and that's a key metric that we're going to be looking at. To the extent that we become outstanding ambassadors on the mountain, only allows us to get more skiing terrain, to get more access to the things that we want and need for our training to be effective. If Tony Parkhill and Peter Stearns see nothing but great things happening, they are much more willing to make the accommodations we need for training venues and for access wherever it might be. I can't stress that enough. We're moving in a very positive relationship with them, but that is a critical component, so all of us can help in that regard. And again, you are the role models for that. So keep that in mind, and to the extent that you can be that role model and educate our athletes on being good ambassadors, that will go a long way. We will be just, and the word will get out amongst the kids very quickly. One simple thing that we're gonna be doing is some various people with the organization, some board members, both on the trails and on Baldy, will have little Johnny G's gift certificates. If they see behavior that is due for a reward, kids will be given a gift certificate for lunch at Johnny G's. The word on that will spread very quickly. Hopefully, we will have kids doing great things out of the mountain for us.
Just one more, just quickly, you guys, because it's an important part on the ambassadorship stuff. All of our gravity coaches this year are in uniforms, which is new, not just alpine. That's a request from the mountain. That's an effort to make us more visible so that people can see what we're doing, when we're doing it, organized, all right, when we are training, all right? So conduct yourself appropriately, and as it reflects back again to communication, it's not just when you're actually communicating with someone. Your dialogue, your conversations, if they're overheard by your athletes and other people, that's the message, all right? So if you're, portraying a difficult attitude or perception of our relationship with the resort and what the resort is, or other facets of the community, you're role modeling that attitude and that message to your kids if it's within earshot, and other people in the community that listen to you as a role model, and that reflects again back to your social media. Everybody in the room is a coach now for a youth organization, and your social media is a window into who you are, and people are watching. All right, as they should be, because you're supervising their children. All right, so that's just the world that we live in, and you need to be sensible on how you portray yourself so that you can be considered a solid role model. That's an employable coach. That's an employable staff member. That's someone that can impact youth, which gets to the bottom. Every group in our teams, if you read all of our material when you leave here, the biggest thing is character development. You better have a plan on how to do it, and the biggest way to do it is by mentoring behavior, all right, and setting up a pathway to learn character traits as much as athletic traits. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and there was something, I know for some of you that have been around for years and years, there's a sense potentially that Sun Valley Company is uncooperative, doesn't give us what we want and what we need. They have a business to run. They can't always accommodate exactly what we want. But I will tell you, I've had conversations, and you can see what's happened, say, with Park City, where Bill took over and Park City lost a substantial amount of their terrain available. You talk to some folks that are heavily involved in Crystal Mountain. We now have some of their skiers here boarding here. Crystal Mountain provides absolutely nothing for the Crystal Mountain team. Coaches pay full pass prices. Athletes pay full pass prices. They pay for all grooming of their race areas. Their race areas don't get groomed for 3 or 4 days after storms. So in reality, Sun Valley provides us quite a bit at this point in time. They charge us for nothing in terms of the grooming and the park and pipe preparation. So the reality is that they do provide us a lot. They give us substantial pricing discounts on our passes. Do we want more? Yes, we do. The way we're going to get more is through great ambassadorship and continuing to strengthen the relationship with the resort. But if you think that they're not on our side, they are. They just have some potentially, I'll say, competing or conflicting goals at times, and you just have to bear that in mind. They do have a business to run beyond our ski team. With that,
This is
turn
me.
it over to
I'm just going to rip through this quick because, again, this is just a few things that you'll get into hopefully more within your different programs. But a couple of overarching philosophical coaching and athletic points that we just wanted to touch on is remember that you have to connect with people, young and old alike, before you direct them. You might think you're the greatest coach on the planet, but you first have to have a relationship, and that you have to develop trust and respect to get the most out of individuals. Again, that's about building relationships. Relationships, relationships, relationships. If you want to guide character and make a difference and build great athletes, you're going to need to have a strong relationship. So nothing happens by accident, so make a plan, all right? The team that's most important is actually you as a coach, the parent, and the athlete, which again goes back to communication. You have to loop it in. If you're a part of the old school and you just believe that parents are a nuisance, you haven't been paying attention. Because if you look at any great athletic success, it stands on the back of a strong parent that was engaged and a part of the process. So you must have them involved, all right? And you have to be in control of that to some degree through positive, open, professional communication. Coaches education and certification, we strive towards having professional coaches even if you're only coaching very part-time. That doesn't mean that it's a high level of certification, but it's a level of accountability and credibility on a liability factor. So we strive to have everybody at some level of education, whether that's through our relationship with Positive Coaching Alliance, whether it's through USSA. USSA, again, is our governance, so to have some type of accreditation with them is helpful in our mission and our liability of working with youth. Other sporting organizations, those types of education are important as well. So we strive to support that financially through time and money to let you do that, and we do a lot of internal education as well. Okay, because we want you to be prepared to actually be able to build plans that make a difference. Okay, to drive lower on curriculum-based teaching. You don't just go out and do it. All right, those days are over. All right, you go out and do specific things to get specific results. And then you will see things move at a rapid pace, both as character when you have a plan, both as athletically when you have a plan. Okay? The feedback, when you talk with kids, it's what a coach does. It is the number one thing that you actually do as a coach, right? You coach. What is coaching? You give feedback. You better figure out how to do that very effectively by positively reinforcing things that are working well, by understanding what negativity and only building upon or accentuating errors, all right? You have to create confidence. You have to understand the message and the feedback that you provide so that you can guide an individual towards success. Whatever that may be. That requires some attention to what you're going to say before you just step out and say it. Really simple. That's it. You're going to get into more of that in terms of education and other things, but really important. You are the difference. Everyone that coaches is the organization. Every single person. All right? Because you make a difference with the kids that you're with. And those kids are as important as any other kid in the program. So I can't stress that enough. You have to take it upon yourself to become the best coach that you can be. And come to us to help you get there. Because that's what makes a difference. All right? All this other stuff is just, bells and whistles. All right? The real stuff happens with your relationship and the manner in which you give feedback to what they're trying to do to get better. All right? Okay. Mimi. Who's next? Yeah, Mimi.
There's a spider in my hair. I'm Mimi Crocker. I want to introduce just the members of our admin team. This is Kelly Roberts, Julia Seifert. Raise your hand. Is everybody there? Faith McGee just joined us. She is in the front office. She answers the phone. She greets parents as they come in. our traffic manager for the season, which is awesome. Julia is in charge of communications and our alumni, and Kelly and I do the accounting and the business. Jody Darkos, you all know, is moving from events into community relations and development, sort of community ambassadorship. Is it still on? Lauren Winsett, who also just recently joined us, is our new events director. So that is your admin team, and we really, our mission is here to support the programs. So we're here for you. Phil calls us the answer desk. That's what we try to do, is provide the answers. Some human resources, simple stuff. There'll be an email going out to every employee as required by our Simple IRA program. If you are an employee that earns $5,000 or more a year, you're eligible to enroll. You can choose to have a pre-tax deduction taken from your paycheck and deposit it into a Simple IRA plan. It is really simple to sign up. The company will match up to 3% of your what you contribute, 3% of your pay. We have a number of people enrolled, and it's a great program. If you are eligible and want more information, go ahead and reach out.
Go to the answer desk.
Go to the answer desk. Business processes and protocol. We get a lot of emails, just so for a basic understanding, Kelly and I are really sort of one unit when it comes to managing all of the money that comes in and goes out, and dealing with member services, getting kids registered, helping parents understand their statements, which, you know, we understand that that's difficult sometimes, especially when parents have multiple kids. That's what we're here for. We're here to help. So encourage parents to call us, email us. When you guys are emailing us with business stuff, it's really helpful. Anything that relates to trips, per diems, anything that relates to the money or the business, you should CC the two of us. To take that one step further, when you have things like check requests, bills that need to be paid, anything money out should, again, go to both of us, but should be directed to me. So if you have a piece of paper, that goes on my desk. Anything that's money in should go directed to Kelly. Make sense? So you have payments, cash coming in, that kind of thing, give it to Kelly. If you have check requests or bills that need to be paid, give them to me. If they're emails, email both of us. A reminder that USSA, every coach needs to have a current USSA license. Make sure you've done that, and make sure you've gone through the background check. That's the one thing that trips up licenses from becoming current, is that people forget to do that part.
Just to add on to the importance of that, we have liability insurance up to $25 million through the USSA, but only if you are covered with a license. And we get it fairly inexpensively because everyone has to have a license. So be sure that you have a valid USSA license at whatever level dictates, depending upon your position.
And if you have questions about that, let us know. So lastly, from a human resources standpoint, we did a great job improving our injury reporting last year. As some of you know that have been here for a few years, we're having a lot of injury issues, and that jeopardized our state insurance, our workers' comp. Actually, a lot of you might have heard about that. We've done a really good job improving that, and as we improve our safety within the organization, it helps to drive down the cost of our workman's comp, which then provides more money for us to build programs and support athletes in being involved. So injury reporting, I can't stress this enough, how important it is that all injuries, no matter how severe or how, we're all tough, we're all athletes, we all bump, you know, we bump ourselves, we fall down, we hurt stuff, and it's like, oh, I'm tough, I can fix it, or it's gonna go away. Honestly, if you get hurt on the job, I don't care how minor you think it is, or how it'll be better next weekend, report it. We have coaches who are out in the field, we have these sort of field reports. The most important thing to do is write it down, get it written down while it's fresh in your memory. As time goes on, details kind of get fuzzy, and it's really important that we collect the time it happened, where it happened, how it happened, if there were witnesses, what was affected. Again, if you bump your elbow, get bumped by your elbow, you know, by the ski lift chair, just report it. This happened. We don't need to report to the state so much unless you go see a doctor. But what happens if you have a minor injury and you think that it's going to be fine, and 3 weeks later it's gotten worse, and we don't have that report, it's a lot more difficult to get things through the system. So report all injuries when they happen, and the details are fresh in your mind. Don't care how small it is, just write it down, turn it into me. Same thing with athletes. Anytime an athlete gets injured, there should be a complete injury report, and you guys will go over the protocol for how to follow up with the family, check on the athlete, make sure everything's fine in your, you know, in your smaller groups. That's it.
Great.
Okay, great. Erica.
Erica.
Guys, I'm the strong mind portion of our. I know personally, because I've coached for so long, also, is that I know that you guys all teach the kids invaluable lessons and skills, but we do have to hammer the books too. So, with that being said, I take care of 3 components. Mostly the communication with the schools, the monitoring the grades, and the academic recovery plan, which I'll get into. My goal this year is to just heighten the communication with the teachers in the schools, in conjunction with the coaches and parents and athletes when a grade is looking not too promising. You know, as coaches, you guys are involved in this because it's really important for you guys. You guys have such a huge impact on these athletes. You know, coming from me, I'm the bearer of bad news. Coming from parents, we all know how that usually looks. And coming from the teachers, in the kid's mind, the teachers who gave them that grade, not the kid earning that grade. So you guys as coaches have the opportunity to help that kid excel at school, whether you know it or not. So now you do. So help me out here, okay? The academic monitoring, I'm just going to briefly tell you guys kind of what I'm doing. And it has been done in the past, and it's a little bit different this year. But I get grade checks once a week from the schools. Mainly, I'm talking Wood River students. Community school does most of their stuff in-house, and Stage School does their stuff in-house. So it's mostly the public schools. But grade checks get sent to me once a week, and I'll go look at those. And if a kid has a C- or lower, or if I see a trend of a kid dropping, and I know it's a kid that travels a lot and it might prohibit them from dropping, then I will send out an alert email. On those alert emails will be the coach, myself, the parent, and the athlete. They get 1 week, depending on the travel schedule. If it's an athlete that travels a lot, it'll be a little bit different of a plan. But typically it's 1 week to kind of catch up. And it's like, the email gives ways of doing so. Then I'll check in again. And if they still haven't, they'll be put on an academic recovery plan. And that's going to look different for every athlete. But what's new this year is instead of marching yourself up those stairs into the room that you get locked in while everyone's having fun down here, we're gonna, we have a pool of tutors. And so the athlete will be matched up with the tutor of this subject in need of help. It is a new system. We're hoping it's going to take off and kids are gonna buy into it, but it gives a lot more freedom for time, location, and not only that, but it is subject specialing. So if this kid is struggling in math, then obviously we'll open up the math tutor. There are obviously limitations that, you know, the academic recovery plan will probably be up to 3 times meeting with the tutor, and then we'll check in again. So there's protocol to it all, but that's kind of the gist of it. Let's see. C- or higher you need to have to travel. There obviously will be certain circumstances. When I get those grades, sometimes they're not registered. The grade isn't accurate, so I check in with the teacher. Are they missing assignments? Did they miss it because they were sick? Did they miss it because they were traveling? Is this kid actually struggling? So there's a lot of communication that's going on. So if we can all kind of stay in the loop, that would be really helpful. Because ultimately, if you take the sport away from the kid, they're probably going to rebel at school. So we really need to try to all stay on top of it so we can keep them happy in both aspects. Got it? Okay. Does anybody have any other questions?
No questions, no questions.
Oh, sorry. Did I cover everything else?
No
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
Did I do Jeanette?
No questions up
There's a couple things not on here that I just want to cover quickly. First of all, the message that we want to put out to the community, and we're doing this a lot through parent roundtables, is that we feel and believe that we should have programs and support for any athlete regardless of what school they choose to attend. Donna Mendez is here both as a coach, and she also works with the Sundown Ski Academy at community school. It's a partnership that's had some ups and downs, but more ups now, particularly with the Ketchum campus coming online. There's been some focus on that for fundraising, but that's not to the exclusion of some of the things that we are working on with the other schools. So again, my response is, you may see emphasis put at different times with different schools, just as sometimes there's an emphasis in the grassroots participatory portions of our programs versus the more highly competitive components. It's all in an attempt to elevate the bar across the board. So we're committed to doing this with all schools, including homeschooled students. And I know that there is a perception, particularly in Alpine, and maybe this is changing a bit, but there has been a perception, I'll say, that in order for an athlete to be successful competitively, that you had to go to community school because of the way the structure is. We don't want to send that message at all. Everyone should be able to choose the best school that's appropriate for them for whatever reasons, and it's incumbent upon us to deliver the programs and the training that allow us to enable those parents and athletes to select the schools that they feel are the appropriate ones.
Yeah, and on that vein though, the academy is a tremendous asset. And it is a partner, and it is an asset, and a lot of people are coming here. And the vibrancy to the community, the addition of families and athletes across all of our programmings is a good component of what we do.
And just to also add to that, if you haven't had a chance and are interested in seeing the dorm where it is right now, Jonna can arrange a tour for you. It's going to be done in late December, early January. There's a 3,200 square foot athletic training facility that will be run in conjunction with the USSA Center of Excellence, correct? Am I correct in all this? And all high school, all age appropriate, which is generally high school competitive teams, have access to that regardless of school affiliation. So, and whether that's formal training that we conduct there, or whether someone from Ski Ed wants to go there, do a little training with a fellow student from community school, let's say, they are welcome to do that. They are welcome to stay there and hang out. They are also welcome to have dinner there for a very nominal fee and then head home should they choose to do so. So it's a great opportunity. Community school is really